Hi everyone, welcome back to MOHIvate. I'm Dr. Mohi Sarawgee, a GP by profession, but here I'm swapping prescriptions for perspective. It's finally November, one of my favorite months of the year. And no, it's not my birthday month. It's that in between season when autumn's colors still linger, winter's calm begins to creep in, and the air smells faintly of roasted coffee, cinnamon, and damp leaves. It's the kind of weather that makes you want to wrap your hands around a hot mug. But it's also the time of year when the world naturally slows. The light fades earlier, the trees go bare, animals rest, our bodies start craving soup and warmth, and somehow we are still sprinting. We've recharged our phones, laptops, smartwatches, maybe even our electric toothbrushes. But have you recharged you? Because winter in nature is not a productivity contest, it's the season of restoration. Everything in nature takes a breath. But humans, we buy new planners, join gyms, make resolutions, add deadlines, apply pressure, and then wonder why we are exhausted by 4 pm. So today, let's talk about something almost everyone feels, but very few people talk about seriously: seasonal affective disorder, or simply that seasonal drop in mood as the light disappears. If winter makes you feel slower, heavier, less motivated, more emotional, more tired, or just a little bit blah, you're not weak and you're not dramatic. You're experiencing biology. Because, as strange as it sounds, a huge part of your mood is controlled by something you cannot touch: the sky. In winter, your brain listens to light more than it listens to willpower. Inside your brain is a tiny cluster of cells called the suprachiasmatic nucleus, your master body clock. It's the size of a grain of rice, but it controls mood, sleep, hunger, hormones, energy, and focus. And this tiny clock has one job: it speaks only one language: light. Morning light tells your brain, make serotonin, wake up, be alert. Darkness tells your brain, convert that serotonin into melatonin, wind down. But autumn and winter flip the script. The sun rises late, mornings are dark, the sun sets early, and suddenly your brain is getting confused signals. Less daylight, less serotonin, lower mood. Earlier darkness, melatonin rises too soon, and you're tired at 6 pm and wide awake at 2 am. It's not that you're lazy, it's just that you're dimly lit. That's seasonal affective disorder, not a personality issue, not a character flaw, not being dramatic, just a biological response to a darker world. Common symptoms can look like low mood, fatigue, irritability, carb and sugar cravings, sleeping more but feeling less rested, that emotional heaviness you can't explain, or simply, I don't feel like myself. So, if you've ever thought, I was fine in September, why am I dragging myself through November and December? You're not imagining it. Your brain is reacting to the weather. Let's break this down in human language, not textbook language. Less light is equal to less serotonin. Serotonin is your steady mood, stable emotions, I can handle life chemical. It keeps motivation balanced, appetite steady, and emotions regulated. So when winter arrives and the light drops, serotonin drops. That's why you can feel low even if nothing bad is happening. Then comes part 2. Earlier darkness is equal to more melatonin. Melatonin isn't a sleeping pill, it's a clock. When it switches on too early, you feel foggy, heavy, and slow. Your brain basically goes, It's bedtime at 5 p.m. while you're in Tesco or your local grocery store trying to find broccoli. So, winter gives your brain confusing instructions. Stay awake, but also go to sleep. Then there's vitamin D. Vitamin D isn't just a vitamin, it's a hormone. It affects immunity, energy, muscles, inflammation, and mood. In summer, sunlight makes vitamin D for free. In winter, sunlight barely touches the skin. That's why health guidelines recommend vitamin D supplements from October to March for newborns, toddlers, teens, adults, basically everyone who isn't living inside a sunbeam, which, let's be honest, is most of us. And when serotonin dips and melatonin rises, your brain gets louder about cravings. It wants quick serotonin, and carbohydrates make serotonin faster. So if winter makes you crave pasta, bread, chocolate, cookies, that's not lack of discipline. It's your chemistry asking for fuel. And then comes motivation. It disappears. Again, not because you're lazy, but because your nervous system switches into energy conservation mode. Look at the world outside. Trees don't apologize for losing leaves. They don't say, sorry, not my most productive quarter. They simply rest through winter and bloom later. So maybe humans could learn something from trees. Resting isn't quitting, it's preparing to grow again. So let's take this one layer deeper because there's a hidden loop inside winter that most people don't realize they're stuck in. When serotonin drops, melatonin becomes irregular. And when melatonin is irregular, sleep becomes shallow, broken, or delayed. So, winter does this. Low light leads to low serotonin. Low serotonin leads to messy melatonin. Messy melatonin leads to bad sleep. And bad sleep results in worse mood, higher cravings, lower motivation. And the loop keeps feeding itself. You don't fix this with discipline. You fix it with light, routine, rest, food, supplements when needed, and kinder expectations of yourself. If you're sleeping more, you're not lazy, you're adapting. If you're crying more easily, you're human. If you're craving carbs, your brain is trying to feel better. You're not weak, you're responding to a light shortage. And if you feel emotionally heavier this season, you're not failing and you're not alone. Millions of people experience the same shift every year, even those who don't have depression in the clinical sense. This is simply your biology asking for support. So now that we understand why winter feels heavier, let's talk about what actually helps. Not 48-step routines, not expensive wellness kits, just simple, realistic things you can start today. Number one, morning light, the most powerful science backed treatment for SAD, SAD, or seasonal affective disorder. Light is medicine for your brain. Try getting 10 to 15 minutes of daylight soon after waking. Doesn't matter if it's cloudy, raining, foggy, or you're wrapped in a jacket like a walking burrito. Cloudy daylight is still 10 to 50 times brighter than indoor light. Think of it as a free mood boost, a free circadian reset, a free serotonin nudge. And if you can add a 10-minute walk after lunch, even better. Blood sugar steadies, mood improves, and your brain gets another reminder. It's still daytime, keep me awake and functioning. Number two, vitamin D. Winter usually means falling vitamin D levels, especially in cloudy countries, and low vitamin D often looks like low mood, fatigue, muscle aches, slow recovery, weak immunity. One of the simplest winter supports is a vitamin D supplement. In the UK, the general public health guidance is for adults 1000 international units daily and for children 10 micrograms or 400 international units daily. If you have a newborn, toddler, teenager, or you're an adult who sees more ceiling lights than sunlight, vitamin D matters. And of course, speak to your doctor if you have medical conditions that change your requirements. Number 3, omega 3. Omega 3 supports brain signaling and mood regulation. EP and DHA help serotonin pathways work more smoothly, which is why people with seasonal mood dips often respond well to omega 3. You don't need a fancy influencer brand. You just need a clean, reliable one with EPA and DHA listed. Number 4, simple movement. Not the gym, just movement. Your winter brain doesn't need an athlete, it just needs a participant. When motivation is low, we wait for inspiration. But the brain works backwards. Action creates motivation. Small things count. A short walk, 5 minutes of stretching after waking, dancing while making tea, house chores with music, yoga in pajamas. To your winter brain, tiny movement is still movement. Number 5, warmth, comfort, and nervous system safety. This isn't psychological fluff. Warmth literally calms the nervous system. Warm showers, heated blankets, socks, warm meals, hot water bottles, warm drinks at night. Your body interprets warmth as safety, and a safe nervous system sleeps better, feels better, heals better. Across cultures, warmth has always been medicine. Your brain translates it as I'm safe. And yes, lavender, chamomile, saffron, they are gentle, but rituals change brain state. Sometimes I just boil water, drop in 2 strands of saffron, a crushed cardamom pod, and maybe a little honey. Not to sedate myself, just warmth, aroma, and a message to the nervous system. The day is over, you can soften now. Rituals are not weakness, rituals are self regulation. Number 6, SAD or SAD lamps, light therapy. If you've tried everything and still feel heavy, SAD lamps can help. And yes, psychiatrists prescribe them. Look for 10,000 lux, use in the morning 20 to 30 minutes, sit beside it while reading, journaling, or working. They work by mimicking daylight and resetting the body clock. Not astrology, not placebo, just neuroscience. Now, let's talk about food because winter cravings aren't a personality flaw, they are biochemical. When serotonin drops, the brain looks for a quick fix, and carbohydrates boost serotonin fast. That's why suddenly everything looks better in bread form. Pasta, cookies, chocolate, warm buttery toast. It's not lack of discipline, it's biology trying to feel better. So instead of fighting cravings, feed the brain smartly. Some winter foods that support mood and energy: berries, nuts and seeds, bananas, yogurt, oats, lentils, dark chocolate. A little goes a long way. Turmeric and ginger, eggs, oily fish like salmon and mackerel. Great for mood, but generally no more than twice a week. Warm, colorful, protein rich meals help stabilize cravings, mood, and blood sugar. And yes, soup absolutely counts. A bowl of soup with lentils or vegetables does more for winter mood than 3 shots of espresso. Try not to rely on endless caffeine. Excess caffeine wakes you up, but it also wears your nervous system out. And sugary snacks spike you up. then crash you down. You don't need a winter diet. What you need is rhythm, regular meals, warm food, steady energy. Now, an important note. For many people, SAD is mild, a little heavier, a little slower, a little less motivated. But sometimes it becomes more than that. If nothing feels enjoyable, you're withdrawing from people, everyday tasks feel impossible, you feel hopeless or stuck, or there are thoughts of self harm, please speak to a doctor. Light therapy helps, vitamin D helps, counseling helps, medication can help. There is no price for suffering silently. SAD is treatable. You do not have to push through alone. So, if you take one thing from today, let it be this: winter is not a failure season, it's a recalibration season. Nature rests so it can bloom again, and you are allowed to do the same. If this winter feels heavy, remember morning light, vitamin D, omega 3, warm food, warmth, routine, and rest without guilt. Small changes can shift an entire season. You don't have to power through everything. Some seasons are for rebuilding, not performing. And wherever you are, especially on these shorter, darker evenings, please know this: you're not lazy, you're not broken, you're not unmotivated, you're adapting to a biological change. You don't need more willpower, you just need kinder expectations of yourself. I hope something today stirred a thought, gave you a smile, or simply made you pause. Whatever time it is where you are, I hope you carry a little feel good factor with you. If you enjoyed this episode or you think someone might benefit from it, please share it with them. And if you have a moment to leave a rating or a kind word, it truly keeps me going. Thank you for listening. I'm Dr. Mohi. Until next time, stay motivated. May your days be hopeful and your nights be restorative. And if this winter feels heavy or life feels a little grey, just remember you already have the tools to come home to yourself.